Have you ever found yourself falling down a Wikipedia rabbit hole at midnight, jumping from ancient Rome to quantum physics to Renaissance painting techniques, wondering if you should be focusing on something more practical? Or maybe you're the person who listens to podcasts about astronomy while reading books about psychology and teaching yourself to code on weekends. If this sounds familiar, you're not scattered or unfocused. You might actually possess what psychologists call the polymath advantage. You see, while the world tells us to specialize and stay in our lane, your brain is doing something far more powerful. That curiosity pulling you in a dozen directions isn't a weakness to overcome. It's a cognitive superpower that's reshaping how you think, solve problems, and see the world. Let me show you why your random interests might be your greatest strength. So what exactly is a polymath? It's someone who refuses to stay confined to a single subject, who follows the thread of curiosity wherever it wins, learning not because they have to, but because understanding brings them genuine joy. Polymaths aren't collectors of random facts, they're pattern recognizers who see invisible bridges between seemingly unrelated ideas. While society pushes us toward narrow expertise, polymaths naturally resist that pressure. They explore science and philosophy, technology and history, music and mathematics, not despite the differences but because of them. And here's what most people miss. In our rapidly evolving world where industries transform overnight, and yesterday's expertise becomes tomorrow's obsolescence, this kind of intellectual range isn't just interesting, it's essential. The future belongs not to those who know one thing deeply, but to those who can connect many things creatively. Every time you explore something new, your brain doesn't just store isolated information, it builds highways between different regions of knowledge. Neuroscientists have discovered that learning diverse subjects actually strengthens your brain's ability to form unexpected connections. Think of your mind as a city. Most people build one neighborhood really well. But you're constructing bridges, tunnels, and roads between districts that were never meant to connect. This mental infrastructure gives you something remarkable: cognitive flexibility. When you encounter a problem, your brain doesn't approach it from one angle. It comes at it from 5 different directions simultaneously, pulling insights from that documentary you watched last month, that article you read last week, and that conversation you had yesterday. This is why polymaths often seem unusually creative. They're not more imaginative by nature, they simply have more dots to connect. And creativity, as Steve Jobs once said, is just connecting things. The real-world benefits of this mindset extend far beyond interesting dinner conversations. Imagine you're facing a challenge at work. While your specialized colleagues see it through the narrow lens of their field, you recognize patterns from another domain entirely. Maybe a problem in project management suddenly makes sense because you studied ecosystems and biology. Perhaps a marketing challenge clicks because you understand psychological principles and storytelling techniques from your interest in literature and neuroscience. This is the polymath advantage in action, the ability to borrow solutions from one world and apply them to another. History is full of these moments. The invention of Velcro came from studying how burrs stuck to a dog's fur. The structure of the benzene molecule was discovered through a dream about a snake eating its tail, an image from ancient mythology. Innovation rarely happens within boundaries. It happens in the spaces between disciplines, where curious minds dare to wander. But perhaps the greatest gift of polymathic thinking isn't professional success or creative breakthroughs, it's how it changes you as a person. When you explore widely, you develop intellectual humility because you're constantly encountering how much you don't know. You become more adaptable because your mind is trained to shift perspectives and learn new systems. You grow more confident in your ability to figure things out because you've done it before in a dozen different contexts. Most importantly, you develop what psychologists call tolerance for ambiguity, the ability to sit comfortably with uncertainty and complexity. In a world that demands simple answers to complicated questions, this capacity to embrace nuance becomes a radical act of intelligence. You stop seeing the world in rigid categories and start noticing the beautiful, messy interconnectedness of everything. So if you've ever felt guilty about your scattered interests or worried that you should pick one thing and stick with it, let this be your permission to stop apologizing. Your curiosity isn't a distraction, it's your design. Those random learning sessions aren't wasted time, They're building a mind capable of seeing what others miss, solving what others can't, and adapting to whatever comes next. Keep following those rabbit holes. Keep connecting those dots. Trust that your unique combination of interests is creating something no specialist could ever build, a truly original perspective. And if you want to explore more about how your mind works in ways traditional education never acknowledged, subscribe and discover what else makes you extraordinary.